My nephew, Tao Xin, lived with us for 3 years during high school. I took care of him diligently, ensuring he got into a prestigious university. He achieved great results, but they didn't even invite me to the celebration party. My sister-in-law, Susan Liu, even falsely accused me, claiming that their son, Tao Xin, suffered immensely while living with me for those 3 years. She said it was a pity for the poor boy. In front of the entire family, my older brother, Peter Tao, criticized me, saying I had bad intentions and that it served me right for not having children. He added that it was fortunate their son was ambitious and could now hold his head high. But I couldn't swallow that anger. I decided to confront them at their house. My sister-in-law challenged me. My Tao Xin only invited his friend over to study together, yet you acted so cold, almost driving him to depression. My older brother pointed a finger at me and cursed. Did you really confiscate my son's phone? He couldn't even research study materials. You wouldn't let him bring friends home. I had my reasons. I wouldn't let him bring friends home because I noticed something was off with their relationship. I confiscated his phone because he used to be addicted to online games. But before I could explain, Tao Xin lunged at me. My older brother and sister-in-law joined in. The three of them beat me to death on the spot. When I opened my eyes, I found myself back on the very day my nephew moved into my house. I saw my husband, David Tao, helping him carry his luggage inside. I touched my head. There was no wound. I understood. I had been reborn, returned to my past life. It was the year Tao Xin was admitted to First High School. My older brother and sister-in-law suggested he live with us. First High actually had dorms, but Susan Liu claimed that Tao Xin was shy and she feared he wouldn't get along with his peers in the dorm, which might affect his studies. My husband, David Tao, also supported them. We're family, he's our only nephew. How can we not help? My sister-in-law took my hand and rattled on, just treat Tao Xin like your own son. Don't hesitate to discipline him if needed. We're uneducated and don't know how to raise a child. We're entrusting Tao Xin to your care. He'll surely never forget your kindness when he makes something of himself. My older brother, Peter Tao, always stingy and opportunistic, buttered me up, promising I wouldn't be disadvantaged. I'll give you 500 yuan each month for his living expenses. They said the same thing in my past life. Now, looking at their fake smiles, I just wanted to vomit. Back then, out of pity for their low income, I didn't take a single cent, raising my nephew for 3 years for free, only to raise an ungrateful traitor. This time, I wouldn't be polite. I gave a cold laugh. Brother, Tao Xin is growing up and his studies are tough. Good nutrition is essential. 500 yuan isn't even enough for his food. My older brother awkwardly forced a smile. 500 yuan isn't a small amount. How much money does a kid need? David Tao glared at me. I knew what he wanted to say, but I ignored him and just replied, all right, 500 yuan then, but you too should give the money directly to him. David and I are busy with work. We come home late and don't have time to cook. First High has good cafeteria food. When we're not home, he can eat there. I had my reasons for doing this. In my past life, Tao Xin often stayed up late playing on his phone. He'd doze off in class during the day. Teachers, out of respect for me, reminded him many times, but he'd tell them that his aunt and uncle didn't feed him enough at home and he was too hungry to sleep. Gradually, my colleagues' glances towards me changed. My sister-in-law, Susan Liu, often badmouthed me behind my back. Knowing this, I felt truly guilty. I tried my best to cook lavish dinners, rushing home every day after work, busy in the kitchen for 2 hours, which affected my own work. In this life, I'll let him hold his father's money and see if it's truly enough to eat. David and I decided not to have children, so he especially doted on Tao Xin, treating him like his own son, caring for him wholeheartedly. I taught at First High's middle school section, and our house was opposite the school, less than a 10-minute walk away. In my past life, to ensure Tao Xin studied well, I meticulously took care of everything, monitoring his academic progress and occasionally communicating with his homeroom teacher. I handled all his academic and daily life issues. If I spotted any issues, I immediately intervened. Under my care and supervision, Tao Xin lived up to expectations. By the second semester of 12th grade, he was in the advanced class and got into a prestigious university with excellent grades. On the day the results were announced, David Tao was ecstatic. He patted his chest, assuring me, "Ziofen, you are a great hero of our Tao family. Just wait for the red envelope from me and your sister-in-law. And what was the result? Forget the red envelope, they didn't even invite me to his university acceptance party. Later, if my brother-in-law hadn't called, I wouldn't have known anything. He called and immediately asked, "Sister-in-law, did you have a misunderstanding with big brother and sister-in-law?" I had no idea what he was talking about and told him to just say it directly. My brother-in-law then unleashed a torrent of words. At Tao Xin's university acceptance party, he mentioned you and got so angry he cried. Sister-in-law said Tao Xin lived at your house for 3 years and suffered so much, he almost got depression. It's a miracle he's still alive. Big brother said you abused a child, and that's why you can't have your own. Sister-in-law's neighbor is related to the principal of your school. I'm afraid rumors will spread and affect you badly. You should clarify things with them soon. I was furious. I immediately called my husband and asked, Tao Xin's family is having a university celebration party, why weren't we invited? He stammered, making excuses. Actually, they called, but I must have forgot to tell you. Who was he trying to fool? He always prioritized Tao Xin's affairs over his own. How could he possibly forget? Clearly, he'd known for a long time but deliberately hid it from me. The more I thought about it, the angrier I became. I took a taxi straight to the Tao family's house. The whole family was home. Seeing me, Susan Liu's face immediately fell. What are you doing here? I didn't want to beat around the bush. Sister-in-law, it's one thing not to invite me to the university celebration party, but why slander me in front of the whole family? Tao Xin lived at my house for 3 years. Did I ever mistreat him? Susan Liu didn't hold back, pointing directly at my face and challenging me. You should examine what wonderful things you've done. My son is shy and only with difficulty made one good friend. Yet, just because he brought his friend home to study, you acted coldly and even forced him to cut ties. He's already under immense academic pressure, and he couldn't even confide in anyone. He almost got depression. My older brother also aggressively questioned me. Did you confiscate the phone we bought for Tao Xin? You knew he needed to look up study materials every night, yet you deliberately obstructed him so he couldn't do his homework and was scolded by teachers. What were your intentions? If you can't have children, don't be jealous. Our family has such an outstanding child. You truly have a wicked heart. Luckily, my son is self-reliant and still achieved high scores. I was so angry I nearly fainted. I never imagined that this seemingly innocent and introverted nephew was such a great deceiver. Before I could even open my mouth, Tao Xin rushed out of his room, grabbed my collar, and tried to hit me. My instincts kicked in and I pushed him away with force. As a result, my brother and sister-in-law went crazy, rushing forward to hold my arms, shouting, "We haven't even settled accounts with you, and you dare hit our son." Tao Xin, in a fit of rage, picked up a crystal ashtray from the table and smashed it hard on my head. A loud thump echoed, and I was hit so hard my skull fractured, killing me instantly. Even now, just thinking about it, my temples throb with a dull ache. This time, I could have completely refused to let them stay with us. But didn't Susan Liu and Peter Tao always believe their son was a genius and could get into university on his own? I wanted to see what Tao Xin's results would be without my intervention. That day, when I got home from work, I saw an exquisite pair of high heels at the door. It seemed Ashley Zhang, the good friend Tao Xin always talked about, was here. In my past life, I didn't allow Tao Xin to bring friends home to study because I discovered something unusual between the two of them. The first time Tao Xin brought Ashley Zhang home, the two of them stayed in his room for half a day. I was about to bring in fruits and drinks when I found the door locked from the inside, and indescribable sounds came from within. I suppressed my anger and waited outside for a long time before Tao Xin finally opened the door, breathless. Ashley Zhang's hair was disheveled, and her face showed a strange embarrassment. They pretended to be reading books, so much so that they didn't notice the exercise book on the table had fallen over. I tried to save their face. Only after Ashley Zhang left did I seriously ask Tao Xin, "Are you getting too close to that girl?" At first, he tried to deny it, but after I told him that I was college friends with his homeroom teacher and he couldn't hide anything from me, he confessed. He pleaded with me not to tell his parents, insisting they were truly in love. I thought for a moment and decided to first meet Tao Xin's homeroom teacher to understand the situation. Mr. Liu said that Ashley Zhang's family was very wealthy. All 3 family members were expatriates, and she had grown up abroad. This time, she was only temporarily back in the country for 2 years to facilitate her parents' work. Ashley Zhang wasn't taking the college entrance exam, she would study abroad later. Her mindset was quite open, she liked to party and socialize widely, and knew many male students. In short, she was the type of girl Tao Xin shouldn't get involved with. The two of them would definitely not have a future together. I returned home and immediately explained the situation to Tao Xin, then sincerely advised him, "You're a student who transferred into First High from another school, so your foundation is naturally weaker than those who came directly from the middle school section. But you are very smart. If you focus on your studies, you can definitely get into a good university. Ashley Zhang's family background and yours are completely different. Her family has already arranged her studies abroad. No matter how much she plays around, she always has a fallback. Your opportunity to rise up relies almost entirely on the college entrance exam. Life is long. Is it worth ruining your future for a short period of fun? Your parents have entrusted you to your aunt and uncle. We are responsible for you." At the mention of his father, Peter Tao, he immediately became frightened. Unlike his mother, Susan Liu, who always pampered him, Peter Tao was both stingy and vain, crude and rude, and firmly believed in spare the rod, spoil the child. So Tao Xin cried and apologized, begging me not to tell his parents about this. I said, "I can keep quiet, but you must break up with Ashley Zhang and not bring her home anymore." Having no other choice, he had to agree. In truth, he didn't bother to think carefully. He was shy and quiet, with nothing particularly attractive about him. How could a wealthy girl like Ashley Zhang genuinely like him? Her family was rich. She didn't need to struggle through the college entrance exam like everyone else. She was just toying with him. As a result, my good intentions were twisted into forbidding him from making friends and forcing him to cut ties. Fine, this time. I took out the exquisite desserts and fruits I had prepared and went to knock on his door again. When he opened the door, the scene inside was exactly like my past life, but I pretended not to see anything, warmly saying to the girl, "Little girl, your aunt and uncle's house welcomes you to visit. Tao Xin is a bit shy, so having a classmate to study with is really good. Come often from now on." Peter Tao gave Tao Xin an allowance that was barely enough to eat at the cafeteria. But ever since he became close with Ashley Zhang, that money was no longer sufficient. He knew David Tao was prone to blurting things out and would tell his stingy father everything, so he didn't dare ask his uncle for more money. After that, he tried to sound me out a few times, asking for money under the pretense of buying reference materials. I didn't bother to expose him, only saying, "Just tell me what materials you need, I can ask your teachers to find them for you. They have everything." Having no other choice, he secretly sought out his mother for money, complaining that he didn't have enough to spend. Susan Liu was very displeased to hear this. She immediately asked, "Is your aunt not treating you well, not even giving you pocket money? If so, just come home." But if he went home, how could he easily meet Ashley Zhang like he did now? So Tao Xin immediately cleverly coaxed his mother. "Auntie treats me very well. She even helps me borrow study materials. You and Dad only graduated from vocational school. How can you help me with my studies? Why would I come home? Besides, you too shouldn't worry about money. It's right to spend it. Don't blame everything on Auntie. What if she gets angry and doesn't let me stay anymore?" My house was very close to the school. Every lunchtime, Tao Xin would make an excuse to his homeroom teacher that he was going home to rest. But most of the time, he was out playing with Ashley Zhang. Sometimes, he'd play for too long and skip the first 2 classes of the afternoon. His homeroom teacher came to me, saying that Tao Xin's academic performance had severely declined recently, and his math test score this month was unsatisfactory. I pretended not to know anything. "No way, Tao Xin is very diligent. He even asks me to help him borrow reference materials. Maybe he just didn't do well on this test." The homeroom teacher continued, "But I heard other subject teachers say that he sometimes skips class too." I replied sternly, "Skipping class is serious. I'll go talk to him. If he doesn't listen, I'll have to call his parents." In truth, I couldn't be bothered to manage his studies. It was his own business. Why should his parents relax while I suffered? When I got home, I saw Ashley Zhang's shoes still there. There was no one else in the house. Tao Xin's room door wasn't closed, so I clearly heard the conversation inside. Ashley Zhang said, "Your aunt really treats you well. I've never heard her say a harsh word or tell your parents." Tao Xin's voice wasn't very happy. But this time, my math score was unsatisfactory, and I couldn't do a lot of the homework. I really don't know what to do. Ashley Zhang's voice was sweet and coquettish. This is easy. At most, I'll talk to my dad and have him send you abroad to study college with me. My family can handle everything. Why work so hard in school? Seeing you struggle like this, it breaks my heart. Tao Xin was half believing, half doubting. Really, you don't believe me, or you don't believe in my family's capabilities. How could I not believe you? I'm just too happy, so you have to treat me well, okay? I tried so hard to stifle my laughter that I had to cover my mouth. Ashley Zhang was truly a master of flirtation, an expert at painting rosy pictures. Having swallowed her painted picture, Tao Xin no longer wanted to study. Most of his time was spent on his appearance and entertainment. Fair enough, Tao Xin was actually quite good-looking, just a bit rustic. Ashley Zhang liked to dress up and took him shopping every day, saying she was helping him revamp his style. Tao Xin not only spent money on clothes and shoes, but occasionally had to buy gifts for Ashley Zhang. This money had to be squeezed out of his allowance, so he cut his meals from 3 to 2, only buying breakfast and saving his lunch money for dinner at home. But most of the time, David and I were busy working overtime, so he ended up eating instant noodles for his meals. One day, Susan Liu happened to pass by the school and brought things for her son. She noticed he had become noticeably thinner. Unable to tolerate it, she immediately called me, her voice full of resentment. "How are you taking care of my son that he's become so thin? Come out and meet me right now. I'm at the school gate. If you can't give a reasonable explanation, I'll go straight to the principal's office and make a scene." I slowly walked out to the school gate. As soon as I arrived, I saw Tao Xin arguing with his mother. "Mom, can you please stop interfering with my business? I'm trying to lose weight." Susan Liu's eyes widened and she shouted, "A big boy like you trying to lose weight? Being fat looks provincial. What's wrong with wanting a good image? Won't you need a good image for job interviews later? Look at your aunt. She's educated and knowledgeable, so she never interferes with your affairs. You, my son, just make a fuss all day long like a country housewife." Those two sentences made Susan Liu's face flush with anger, so choked with rage she couldn't refute. Indeed, a biological son treating his biological mother without restraint. Seeing this, I stepped in to mediate. "Sister-in-law, you're here." Embarrassed by her son, Susan Liu's tone suddenly softened. "Yes, I brought Tao Xin 2 new outfits. He's gotten so thin." Before I could speak, Tao Xin impatiently threw the 2 outfits back at her. "What kind of provincial clothes are these? Mom, how dare you bring them here? Do you want my friends to laugh me to death? From now on, don't buy clothes anymore. Just give me the money and I'll buy them myself." I smiled gently, advising, "Sister-in-law, children are growing up and have their own sense of style. We should respect their opinions." Susan Liu heard this and looked her son up and down again, then sighed. He does look handsome, doesn't he?" Tao Xin replied smugly. "Of course. Do I still need you to say it?" Susan Liu pondered for a moment, then continued to ask, "Oh right, sister-in-law, how is Tao Xin's academic performance these days? Is he keeping up?" Tao Xin's expression tightened slightly. I evasively only said, "The teacher said he's very smart. As long as he works hard, he can definitely get into a key university." I wasn't lying. Tao Xin truly had a good mind. Otherwise, in my past life, he wouldn't have gotten into such a good university. As for how they interpreted it, that was up to them. Sure enough, upon hearing me praise her son's intelligence, Susan Liu immediately beamed like a blooming flower. Tao Xin, seeing me defend him, also relaxed and curtly told his mother to go home. All right, Mom, go home. Don't come to school so often. I'm very good at Auntie's house. Don't interfere with my business." Thus, I naturally became a good person in Tao Xin's eyes. During the Lunar New Year, he used a photoshopped version of his final exam report card to trick his parents, making them overjoyed and showering him with endless praise. Everyone said Tao Xin would surely have a bright future, and Peter Tao and his wife would enjoy their blessings. The elders all praised me, and even my older brother and sister-in-law changed their attitude towards me, treating me much more kindly. I could only smile coldly in my heart, finding everything truly ridiculous. In my past life, I cared for him meticulously and helped him wholeheartedly, only to be hated to the point of being beaten to death. In this life, I did nothing, yet I became a good person in their eyes. Is this the true face of a habitual liar? While his parents were happy, Tao Xin asked them for the latest model of smartphone. He claimed it was for researching materials and online learning, but in reality, it was to play games with Ashley Zhang and his friends. All the money requested under the guise of online learning was spent on in-game purchases for eye-catching outfits and powerful equipment. These things made the girls around him constantly exclaim, "Wow, Tao Xin is so good." Of course, besides having good equipment and outfits, to play well, one also needs a lot of practice. So, Tao Xin started staying up late to grind games. When I discovered he was using online learning funds to buy in-game equipment and skins, Tao Xin stammered defensively. "Many classmates play games. Why can't I?" I retorted. "So, are other classmates also using their online learning fees to buy in-game items?" He pressed his lips together, unable to answer. First High was one of the best key schools in the city, with many wealthy students. Tao Xin's family, however, had uneducated parents who only ran a small business, earning money with great difficulty. Although I disliked much of their talk and behavior, I was first and foremost a teacher, and also Tao Xin's elder. I understood better than anyone the importance of the college entrance exam, especially for children from ordinary family backgrounds like Tao Xin. Therefore, I sternly confiscated his phone and gave him my old spare phone. That phone had low specs and couldn't run large games. It could only make calls and use basic apps. Furthermore, the App Store used my account. Any app he wanted to download or pay for had to go through me. I could monitor everything. Finally, I paid for his online learning fees out of my own pocket. Tao Xin could only apologize and beg me not to tell his family. He was a quiet, reserved person, so I didn't take it too hard, thinking he would eventually understand my good intentions. Little did I know that this incident, along with the Ashley Zhang affair, would become the reason he held a grudge against me. After the college entrance exam, he fabricated and distorted events, accusing me in front of the whole family of giving him a hard time, forbidding him from making friends, deliberately confiscating his phone, and driving him to depression, causing him to repeatedly contemplate suicide. As a result, he lived a good life, while I was harmed to death by him. Therefore, in this life, if he wants to make friends, let him make friends. If he wants to play games, let him play freely. It was now 11th grade. I wanted to see how long he could remain so complacent. Tao Xin stayed up late playing games every day. Naturally, he had no energy to listen in class during the day. Besides his homeroom teacher's class, he spent all other classes catching up on sleep. More importantly, studying wasn't just an intellectual competition, but also a physical one. High school students were in a period of rapid development and needed abundant nutrition and energy. But to save money, Tao Xin didn't eat enough, leading to a decline in both his physical and mental strength, falling further and further behind his classmates. To avoid gossip, I often pretended to ask my husband in front of him, "Is the school food good? Do you want anything extra? I'll cook more for you this weekend." But Tao Xin dared not reveal the truth. If his parents knew he was using food money to buy clothes and top up games, he would surely be beaten until his legs broke. So, every time, he'd say the cafeteria food was delicious and he ate enough. His homeroom teacher, Mr. Liu, came to me multiple times to report on the situation. The most recent time, he complained that Tao Xin's parents were becoming increasingly irresponsible. Tao Xin's performance in the last midterm exam had declined so much, yet they didn't even bother to attend the parent-teacher meeting. Mr. Liu kindly called to invite Tao Xin's parents to school for a discussion, but on the other end of the line, Peter Tao was busy playing cards. Loud noises could be heard. He answered the phone, loudly saying, "3 suits of east wind are out." He replied to the teacher dismissively, "Teacher, we are uneducated people. We don't know how to raise children. It's useless for you to find me. Isn't his aunt a teacher at your school? If there's anything, just find her. She represents us." Mr. Liu was displeased to hear this and continued, "Teacher Gu also has a busy job, and besides..." Before he could finish, Peter Tao interrupted him. All right, you're both teachers. If my son isn't doing well, isn't it your fault? Besides, the kid is smart. This time was just a mishap. Don't make such a big deal out of it." Mr. Liu recounted this to me, frowning and shaking his head. Look, what kind of parents are these? They don't want to educate their own child and just push all the responsibility onto the teachers. If it weren't for my respect for you being family, I wouldn't bother with him. I comforted him gently. Mr. Liu looked at me sympathetically. You are truly a good person. If I had relatives like that, I would have definitely kicked them out of my house. Oh, by the way, do you know? He leaned closer to my ear and whispered. The math teacher reminded Tao Xin a few times the other day, and he threatened that he had depression and would jump off the building and blame the teacher if he was criticized again. So, I also advise you, when dealing with this type of family and child, don't get too involved. It's scary. I smiled and nodded, outwardly showing nothing, but inwardly thinking, Mr. Liu is truly a good homeroom teacher. After just a few interactions, he's already recognized Tao Xin's true nature. What kind of people are Tao Xin's family, really? In my past life, I handled all of Tao Xin's daily life and academic affairs. I was the one who communicated with his teachers, never bothering Peter Tao and his wife. Everyone knew that the high school environment was fiercely competitive. For students who didn't work hard, teachers often adopted a hands-off attitude. The results of the class placement exam at the end of 11th grade were in. Tao Xin had dropped to over 100th place in his grade, not enough to get into the advanced class. This was a big deal. The exam results were sent directly to the parent group. This time, it definitely couldn't be hidden. Hearing my husband recount it, his older brother was incredibly angry. After school, he picked up Tao Xin and brought him home. He lamented to me, full of regret and heartache. Tao Xin's grades were always quite good before. Why did he suddenly fall so hard in such an important exam? Can you ask someone for help to get Tao Xin into the advanced class, or at least give him another chance to retake the exam? I didn't bother to answer, just gave him a glare and turned away. To be honest, my mood at this moment was a bit complicated. Although Tao Xin definitely couldn't get into the advanced class, First High still had excellent teaching quality. If he was disciplined harshly by his father and started working hard now, there was still time. With his intelligence, getting into an ordinary university wouldn't be a big problem. But what surprised me was that in the evening, Peter Tao and his wife brought Tao Xin back to my house. I thought they would come to cause trouble, blame me for him not getting into the advanced class, or, as before, pressure me to help pull strings. I even had my reasons ready to refuse. Unexpectedly, they were laughing and talking happily, showing no sign of anger at all. My husband and I exchanged glances, unsure what trick they were playing. Their next words astonished me even more. It's all our fault. Sister-in-law is busy with work and still has to help us take care of our child. It's truly hard on you. We've already told Tao Xin to study diligently from now on and try not to let his homeroom teacher have to remind him anymore. One failed exam doesn't say anything. There's still all of 12th grade ahead of us. We're not worried. Huh? Did these two suddenly change their personalities? I glanced at Tao Xin. He was still standing there quietly, as usual, only a flash of unconcealed smugness in his eyes. My intuition told me something was definitely amiss. After entering 12th grade, I noticed Tao Xin had significantly more pocket money. I asked a few times, and he said his father had increased his monthly allowance to 3,000 yuan, and if that wasn't enough, he could ask for more. You have to understand that Peter Tao and his wife's income wasn't high. Their small shop only profited a few thousand yuan each month. Furthermore, Peter Tao was addicted to gambling and terrible at it, often losing 2,000 or 3,000 yuan a month. So, to increase their son's allowance like that, they must have been tightening their belts. With their stingy personalities, how could they be so generous? I observed for a while and found that the relationship between Tao Xin and Ashley Zhang was progressing very quickly. Previously, Ashley Zhang was like a social butterfly, always surrounded by many male students, but now it seemed she no longer paid attention to anyone else, only sticking close to Tao Xin. As for Tao Xin's academic results, I wasn't clear because no teachers contacted me anymore. Perhaps they had completely given up on him. Even when he was in his homeroom teacher's class, the teacher didn't bother to mention Tao Xin's name. I only knew that he had been assigned to the back row of the class, wearing headphones and brazenly playing games during lessons. During lunch breaks, he would either go out to eat and play with Ashley Zhang or go home to be affectionate with her. Faced with this situation, I chose to ignore it until Tao Xin completely turned against us. That day, it was rare for my husband and me to come home on time together. As soon as I walked through the door, I saw Tao Xin sprawled on the sofa, playing games and humming, seemingly in a very good mood. Seeing us return, he didn't even bother to stand up and greet us. I frowned, but in front of my husband, I tried to keep my calm and asked gently, Tao Xin, have you finished your homework? The exam is coming soon. You should seize the opportunity to review. This is a very important exam. Every minute is precious. He only glanced at me, then scoffed coldly, not bothering to reply. My husband felt humiliated and raised his voice. Your uncle is talking to you, didn't you hear? The exam is coming and you're still playing games. Go review right now. Only then did Tao Xin slowly get up, muttering as he walked, reviewing is deadly, it's so annoying. I'm about to become rich, what's the point of reviewing? As far as I'm concerned from now on, you all are low-class, salaried workers, not even worthy of carrying my shoes. My husband was stunned, unable to believe that the nephew he treated as his own son could speak like that. As for me, I stood by, watching with a sense of schadenfreude. Tao Xin had finally revealed his true nature, no longer bothering to pretend. Actually, I had heard some rumors before. While queuing for food in the cafeteria, I accidentally overheard two high school girls whispering, Did you hear? That Ashley Zhang girl seems to be pregnant. Didn't she drop out of school a long time ago? I heard she's going abroad soon. Right, I also heard people say they saw her buying a pregnancy test at the pharmacy. I wonder if it's true? It must be true. Rich families can do anything. After hearing this, I almost immediately thought of Tao Xin. Previously, Ashley Zhang had completed high school abroad and was preparing for university when her parents returned to the country to set up a branch company. Because she had lived a pampered life since childhood, her parents were not at ease leaving her alone abroad. Since her scores from abroad could not be used as a basis for admission to domestic universities, the Zhang family used their connections to enroll her temporarily at First High. Initially, they planned to return abroad as a family once the branch company was established. That's why Ashley Zhang had once told Tao Xin that she could take him abroad to study with her. During the recent class placement exam, Tao Xin's abysmal results enraged Peter Tao, who was about to take off his belt and give him a good beating. Terrified, Tao Xin confessed everything, from his fake good grades to his decline due to game addiction, and how he saved food money to buy gifts for his girlfriend, leading to poor health and inability to study. Susan Liu quickly grasped the key point. Ashley Zhang was from a wealthy family, an expatriate, didn't need to take the college entrance exam, and could study abroad directly with money. Furthermore, she had feelings for her son. This was truly a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. She immediately calculated. After graduation, it would be extremely difficult to get acquainted with wealthy families like the Zhangs. It was better to curry favor with Ashley Zhang now so that her son could go abroad with her later. Peter Tao initially objected, feeling it was unacceptable for his son to be a live-in son-in-law, and abroad at that. Susan Liu then scolded her husband for being old-fashioned and lacking vision. Do you know what class leap is? Although I'm not highly educated, I've watched many online videos. For families like ours, no matter how hard our child tries and gets into a good university, after graduation, he'll just be a common laborer. But if he can latch onto a wealthy family like the Zhangs, that's called changing one's life. What's the point of taking the college entrance exam? It saves so many years of struggle. Peter Tao still grumbled, but that girl is 3 years older than our son, already over 20. So what if she's 3 years older? People say an older wife brings gold. What do you understand? Thus, Tao Xin followed his mother's advice, determined to cling tightly to Ashley Zhang. Therefore, Peter Tao and his wife, even if they had to tighten their belts, had to increase their son's pocket money. They thought that even if Tao Xin tried hard now, the result would only be admission to an ordinary university, with no outstanding future. Instead, they put all their efforts into helping him curry favor with Ashley Zhang, hoping he would later go abroad to study at a prestigious university and change his life. I heard that Ashley Zhang had dropped out of school since the beginning of this year. Her parents had almost completed their work at the branch office and were preparing to return abroad. This made Tao Xin anxious because even though Ashley Zhang still took him out to play, she had never mentioned taking him abroad. It seemed she had forgotten her previous promise. In truth, I believe it wasn't a promise but just a casual remark made in good spirits, but Tao Xin believed it absolutely and was unwilling to let go. Finally, Susan Liu decided to take a gamble, advising Tao Xin to use his last resort to hold onto Ashley Zhang. As a result, Ashley Zhang became pregnant. Upon hearing the news, Tao Xin was overjoyed, thinking that his future with Ashley Zhang was now settled. After telling his story, Tao Xin gleefully pulled out his packed suitcase from his room. "I'm sick of staying at your house. I'm sick of studying too. What's the use of being good at studying? What do you get for passing exams? Does getting into a key university guarantee you'll be rich?" You two, both Auntie Gu and Uncle Tao, graduated with master's degrees from prestigious 985 universities. Yet aren't you still just salaried workers with meager salaries? And you dare preach to me? Having said that, Tao Xin turned to leave. My husband's face turned beet red with anger. In his impression, this only nephew was originally gentle and intelligent, the hope of the Tao family. Who knew that behind that mask was such a face? He grabbed Tao Xin's collar and gave him a resounding slap. "What are you to be so rude?" Tao Xin, clutching his face, angrily jumped up and grabbed the ashtray on the table, intending to throw it at my husband's head. But David Tao was not like me in my past life. He was tall and strong, his arm almost as thick as Tao Xin's leg, and Tao Xin's parents weren't there to defend him. As a result, Tao Xin was given a thorough beating by David. I stood by, watching with silent satisfaction. Later, when Peter Tao and his wife came to pick up their son, they saw him badly beaten and immediately rushed to fight David Tao. But unfortunately, even the three of them together couldn't do anything to him. In the end, all three were kicked out of the house. They stood outside the door, cursing and declaring they would sever ties with David Tao. David Tao stood at the door for a long time, his face complex. Seeing this, I just smiled inwardly. This was the practical lesson he needed to learn. Talking until one's throat was dry was no match for the truth laid out before one's eyes. Before going to bed, my husband bowed his head and whispered an apology to me. "Wife, you've suffered so much. That family is truly a bunch of ungrateful people. And here I was always convincing you to help them. I was wrong, I was so foolish. Luckily, I came home early today. Otherwise, you might have been hurt." His eyes red-rimmed, he hugged me tightly and continued, "From now on, even if they die in front of me, I won't care anymore, I swear." Whether they died or not, I don't know, but they did encounter big trouble. This was told to me by a young lady, an acquaintance of mine. In reality, Ashley Zhang didn't really love Tao Xin and never intended to take him abroad. Just as I predicted, she only saw him as a plaything. So, when she discovered she was pregnant, Ashley Zhang was not happy but extremely panicked. Because Ashley Zhang's family had many social connections, she dared not go to a large hospital but sought out a small private clinic for an abortion. However, due to the unsanitary surgical environment, her wound became severely infected, leading to a high fever and fainting at home. Fortunately, the maid discovered her in time. After emergency treatment, her life was saved, but her ability to conceive in the future was almost nil. Ashley Zhang's parents were furious. They immediately went to find Tao Xin to get to the bottom of it, but when they arrived, Tao Xin wasn't home. Susan Liu then tried to use sweet talk to win them over. "Oh, dear in-laws, please don't be angry. I just heard about the children's matter myself. It's truly heartbreaking." Ashley's mother was so angry she almost fainted, shouting, "Who are your in-laws? Don't fabricate stories and claim relations indiscriminately." But Susan Liu refused to give up. "Well, things have come to this point. What's one more marriage certificate? Your daughter is 21 years old and already past the legal age for marriage. You even said before that you wanted to take Tao Xin abroad to study together." Ashley's father was so enraged he trembled, throwing the medical report directly at Peter Tao's face. "You people have such thick skins. Look at what your son has caused." Peter Tao picked up the medical report and looked at it, his face immediately changing. He stammered, "Can't have children? Then that won't do. My family can't take a hen that can't lay eggs." Susan Liu tried to wink at her husband, signaling that they should first find a way for their son to study abroad and then figure things out later. But Ashley's father was seething with rage. He raised his hand and slapped Peter Tao directly across the face. Seeing her husband being hit, Susan Liu immediately raised her voice and argued back. "Clearly your daughter deliberately got involved with my son. Now that something has happened, you blame everything on us? This was a mutual agreement. Your daughter even seduced my son before, making him unable to get into the advanced class. We haven't even blamed you yet, and you come here to cause trouble first." Even the usually calm Ashley's mother couldn't tolerate it and lunged at Susan Liu, starting a fight. neighbors gathered to watch the commotion. In the end, both sides were taken to the police station. Since both sides had resorted to physical violence, neither gained an advantage. Ashley's parents, after settling their affairs in the country, prepared to return abroad to continue their work. They no longer had time to argue further with the Tao family. They quietly took Ashley Zhang abroad. The Zhang family disappeared without a trace. When Tao Xin heard the news, he was so angry that he smashed things in the house, wailing, "Useless people, why didn't you try to appease them a bit? Didn't you two tell me to curry favor with the Zhang family and hold on to them tightly? Now look, they're gone. What am I supposed to do? My entire future was riding on Ashley Zhang. Now they've washed their hands and left. What am I supposed to do now?" Peter Tao, already irritated, slapped his son's face and shouted, "This brat is getting out of hand. How dare you be disrespectful to me?" As he cursed, he reached for the iron rod leaning in the corner. "You don't study, you just play around all day, and you even dared to give us a fake report card to trick us into buying a new phone. Today, I'm settling all accounts with you." Susan Liu tried to intervene but couldn't stop her husband's rage. In the end, Tao Xin's right arm was broken and had to be put in a cast. With this injury, even with good treatment, it would take at least 100 days to recover. But by then, the exam was almost upon them. Not knowing what to do, Tao Xin, clutching his injured arm, tears streaming down his face, knelt at my doorstep and cried, "Auntie, I was wrong, I shouldn't have lied, I should have listened to you, I regret it. I regret it so much it tears me apart. Please, Auntie, help me talk to the teachers. I'll study seriously, I really want to study now. I want to go to university. I want to go to university." He wailed for nearly half an hour until his voice was hoarse. But I wasn't home at the time. The entire incident was recorded by the outdoor camera. Finally, the neighbors, unable to bear it, called the police. Afterward, the police notified his family and school to pick him up. His new homeroom teacher, a straightforward person, had long been fed up with this family. When he met the Tao family, he coldly said, "Is it still possible now?" With his current performance, I don't even know where to begin remedial lessons, and with that arm in a cast, this exam seems hopeless. You might as well prepare to retake the exam. Hearing this, Peter Tao became even angrier, his face turning dark. Retake what exam? I don't think he's the studying type anyway. Retaking it would just be a waste of money. He might as well just go to work. The college entrance exam concluded. This year, the pass rate for key universities in the advanced class was very high. As expected, the top scorer in the entire city once again came from First High. Red banners were already hung all over the school gate. Looking at the honor roll posted in the school corridor, I couldn't help but feel a mix of emotions. In my past life, Tao Xin's name also appeared on this wall. At that time, he was the center of attention, the pride Peter Tao constantly called a genius. This very day in my past life was also the day the Tao family grandly celebrated his university admission. But now, all of that was in the past. Just then, Mr. Liu, Tao Xin's former homeroom teacher, approached me and asked, "Teacher Gu, how is your husband's nephew these days? Did he take the exam? I remember he was quite unruly, even daring to curse at teachers in class, calling them low class and wage slaves." I shook my head and replied, "I haven't seen him recently. I think he did take the exam but didn't get into any university. His father intends to send him to work." Hearing this, Mr. Liu sighed softly. At first, I thought he was a quiet, well-behaved student, so he must be diligent. Who would have thought? My involvement with Tao Xin ended there, because he truly did suffer from depression later. According to the young lady, he had mental problems, often staying up all night without sleep, occasionally causing disturbances and threatening suicide. When angry, he didn't hesitate to hit people and smash things, turning the house into chaos. Peter Tao and his wife were tormented to exhaustion by him. Their small shop also couldn't do business anymore. Recently, they had continuously encountered trouble, from being accused of illegal construction to being ordered to suspend business to rectify fire safety issues. I listened silently, guessing that these were likely the Zhang family's schemes. The young lady added, "Recently, Peter Tao came to me to borrow money, saying he wanted to take Tao Xin out for treatment, but it's strange. Didn't they come to you for money?" I shook my head, bewildered. I truly didn't know about this. At that moment, David Tao, who was standing nearby, coldly interjected, "How could they not have asked? It's just that I flat out refused. They probably forgot their declaration to sever ties with me. I couldn't help but laugh out loud. My brother-in-law, though useless, at least kept his word. Summer vacation was approaching. I started planning trips at home. Having lived once more, I was determined not to waste my life again. I would definitely visit all the beautiful sights across the country.